From being the most powerful steam locomotives in the world to being completely redesigned and eventually all being scrapped, here is the fascinating tale of the P2s. In 1934, a P2 locomotive named Cock of the North was brought from Sir Nigel Gresley's diagrams into real life. The design was influenced by one of Gresley's earlier experiments, the fascinating Hush Hush locomotive, and the boiler and firebox being enlarged versions of the designs used on the A1s. It was certainly something different, as other locomotives around the time looked like this. But what on earth prompted Gresley to create what would be the most powerful steam locomotives? Well, the Edinburgh to Aberdeen line in Scotland was notoriously harsh for locomotives to go up. In fact, the only way to get traffic up the hill was to have the train double-headed. Weight restrictions meant the larger locomotives wouldn't be able to double-head large trains on other parts of the line. It was a mess. So when Cock of the North steamed out, it seemed like a win for everyone, right? Needless to say, this powerful locomotive was a big deal, and after the first of its class was completed, the second one, number 2002 Earl Marischal, was shortly presented to the public. Whilst looking similar, it had some changes, namely smoke deflectors being added. It was also proven to be more efficient than its predecessor. After this one, in 1935, Gresley decided that his A4 locomotives looked pretty snazzy, and decided to build the next four with streamlined fronts to lift the engine smoke clear of the driver's view, all having slightly different features. 2002 entered Doncaster in 1936 for an overhaul and was given the streamlined front, and in 1937 Cock of the North was also ultimately rebuilt. The P2 class was capable of hauling 500+ ton trains across the Edinburgh to Aberdeen route at fast speeds, so they worked out for their intended purpose, somewhat. However, in all of his experimental frenzy, it appeared that Gresley had overlooked a few components in his design. Over time, problems started to occur among the class. The biggest issue was the leading pony truck, which was poor at guiding the engines. The effects of this were the frame-formed areas of stress and crank axle troubles. This meant the class spent large amount of time undergoing repairs, and this was not going to fly. Meet Edward Thompson, Gresley's successor. He's not a fan of some of the Gresley designs and decides to give the P2s a second chance and rebuilt all 6 of them into his own class called the A22s, with a 4-6-2 arrangement. Thompson realized the power of the locomotives and decided to assign them to mixed traffic duties, which did not go down well. The P2s were built for express passenger services, and some parts had not been adjusted to the mixed traffic jobs. As well as this, the class had slipping problems and therefore could not perform the passenger services on the original route. They were all withdrawn and scrapped by 1961, with none making it into preservation. However, there are currently 2 new P2 locomotives being constructed as of today. To begin with, there is a replica of Cock of the North allegedly being worked on in its streamlined form. I say this because there hasn't been an update for ages, their Twitter is private and it all seems a bit quiet. However, secondly, there is a Prince of Wales project that aims to introduce a brand new 7th member to the non-existent other 6. It seems to be going smoothly, and from what we have seen, I'm sure everyone is excited for the long-anticipated return of Britain's most powerful steam locomotives. So overall, why were the P2s, specifically Cock of the North and Earl Marischal, rebuilt so many times? Well, it boiled down to the over-experimentalism of Gresley's original designs, the further complications of damaged driving crank axles due to the overheating problems, and finally, thanks to Thompson's ungainly rebuild, the design was seen unfit for any duties. Subscribe for more captivating train-related content.